Draft physics video, hopefully quick. Anyway, I was looking to see if I could find any of the Eddington proof from the 2017 eclipse. You know, the most perfect eclipse over the most perfect location. The greatest pictures ever taken should be of the eclipse. All this kind of crap. You know, so a couple of universities were supposed to be repeating the Eddington experiment, and you know, it's 3 weeks now, no word that I can find from any of them encouraging at all. Nothing saying we did it, we've got it. Their technology, by their own statements, is supposed to be 100 times better. That is, they see 100 times more stars in the field than Eddington had to choose from. 100 times. I mean, this should be a shoe-in. This should be so frickin' easy. You know, no problem. Yet where is it? Where's this validation of this proof that you know, was performed 100 years ago? Where's the evidence that this was proof? You know, and it's just so much hype. You know, I went through pages of Google references that are supposed to be news stories. You know, hundreds of them, and yeah, it's just all hype. Nothing real. So on one of the links, this image came up with a, you know, link to this National Geographic article, and it's just such a pile of crap. Just more evidence of how times have changed. I mean, everybody's just in the propaganda business. I mean, no scientific integrity here whatsoever. So the title is Einstein's Impossible Experiment Finally Performed, and you know, they're hyping some movie they're making about Einstein's life, you know, a 10-part series. I'm sure it won't have any decent science in it. So this is the image they show at the top of the article. Right? So, I mean, this looks like, whoa, that's dramatic, isn't it? The lensing image, right? Has nothing to do with the article. This image has, this doesn't have anything to do with this story at all. So they put this image right below the headline, and the article has nothing to do with that image. And they don't say that anywhere in here. They say image provided by Hubble, but they don't tell you anywhere this has nothing to do with it. So leave it to the Hubble telescope to prove Albert Einstein wrong, or at least unnecessarily pessimistic. So they're making a joke of the fact that Einstein said you would never see gravitational lensing, because first he didn't think the big objects would ever make it, like a galaxy. There's not enough gravity. And second, he thought stars, you know, the lensing is going to be so slight that you're not going to be able to detect it with all the other brightness coming out of the sun, of course. Blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway. And so Eddington performed this, you know, heroic feat almost 100 years ago, and we don't have anything called real verification. So the experiment that they actually did in this thing was they found a white dwarf and they lensed another star from behind it. But there's no visual evidence, not necessarily anywhere in this whole article, no photograph of the actual Hubble image. Okay, so no photograph of the actual Hubble image, nothing about the stringentness of their science and absolutely knowing where the position of the other star was, but it had nothing to do with something visually obvious. So, I mean, obviously these images, these are gross exaggerations, you know, the animations or the illustrations, but the only image you have is this. And this isn't what the experiment was. The experiment was just a sun was out of position. So one of these little dots was a little bit, oh, wrong spot. They claim there's no visual evidence. There's no like image of the same location, the same star field, and then you compare the two star fields and say, oh, yep, that is in the wrong place. Nothing like that. Just complete bullshit article. You know, give the wrong impression, propagandize, you know, just, you know, it's just it's so depressing. this is, I mean, you're just saying it. Just obviously, yes, this people in this science biz just don't have any integrity. So yeah, it's going to be really hard to get my fair trial date. Unless I have to go out and kill a scientist or something, to get a fair trial. I mean, it's just such bullshit. I claim fraud. This is just fraud. This is a fraud. A fraud. To put that image on top of this article. That's just lying. So anyway, so as I pointed out, I haven't heard any counter argument from anybody for this point, but these lensing, every time you see one of these lensing images, it means there's probably a million other things, because this has to be just the right focus, especially to get the Einstein ring, by their own theory anyway. But by their own theory, every time you see one of these things means there should be at least, say, 500,000 things like this and like this and like this that you should see disappear. They should just vanish. For every one of you see in focus, you should see, for every one of those, there should be at least, let's say, 100,000 other cases where the light that was coming to us ended up doing this for some other location, which means this disappeared, or this disappeared, or this disappeared, or this disappeared. That's the consequence of this being true. If this is true, this is supposed to disappear, and this is supposed to disappear, and this is supposed to disappear, and this is supposed to disappear. So why don't you show me the star fields? Take the picture, and then take the picture again a year later, and show me all the stars that disappeared. Because that's what's supposed to be happening, if this is true. I haven't heard any counter arguments. So anyway, it's just very disappointing. Hundreds of listings just to keep talking about Eddington proof, Eddington proof, Eddington proof. And like there's no you can't even question their standard of proof. And it's just so questionable. And the fact that here you had this eclipse and everybody's silent. So how long will the silence have to go? Is like how far from the most perfect eclipse conditions, technology that's at least 100 times better than Eddington's. 100 times better. 100 times better. 100 times more stars in the field. So technology 100 times better, perfect conditions for big telescopes, even mobile, I'm just saying, they didn't have to go to Africa, they didn't have to climb a mountain, didn't have to do any of that kind of crap. We have already set up observatories looking at it. We have satellites that watch the eclipse. So how many days from the eclipse date before you start wondering, where's the announcements? Why isn't somebody saying, we have validated Eddington's results? I mean, obviously it won't be the same star cluster or anything like that, so they can't do exactly the experiment Eddington did. But I mean, the idea is just to do this. It's just, say this was the eclipse. I mean, the idea is just, are these stars in the right location? So I mean, all you do is take a picture the day before or the day after the eclipse of the same place at the same exact time. Have the telescope pointed exactly where the sun, well, you can't do it where the sun was because the sun's in the way. Do it, Gary. So you have to wait till some time when you can look at that patch of stuff at night. So you probably have to wait 6 months. So they couldn't have taken the picture of where the eclipse was 6 months before the Eddington experiment? Yeah, so that's the catch, I guess. Well, they should have been able to do it 6 months before, right? They should have known 6 months before they were going to do the experiment, right? But I'm thinking, yeah, well, I don't know whether it would take 6 months. I guess all you needed to do is some period at night. So it has to be dark, and you have to have the same pile of stars in the same position in terms of the orientation of the Earth and its rotation. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know whether that takes 6 months or not, but anyway, so we have to wait 6 months, and then we have to trust them that they point their stupid telescope at the same location. But see, the problem is 6 months you're on you're at a different distance, which is also kind of, yeah, that's sucky. Yeah, there's no way around that. So this is, again, this is a job for the Hubble. This is a job for their other satellites. They said that we're watching the eclipse. They have satellites who are watching the eclipse. Why weren't they watching the space around the eclipse? Because that's where the important shit was happening. So anyway, just an element, that this science is just politics. It's just propaganda. Because nobody, again, it's just, they'll argue that, these lensed images. Oh, this proves lensing of dark matter. It's just completely irrational. So Facebook, I really hate. Things don't work. Computers are just getting more dysfunctional because pages are getting more full of crap. So they don't even scroll right anymore. But I mean, they'll just say, oh, this is proof of dark matter. So they won't conclude the obvious, which is, that doesn't make any sense. There's not enough gravity out there. Anyway. Yeah, so that's enough. Just a complaint video, I guess. But, I'm really sick of people. Well, with 100%, 100 times better technology, they should have been able to videotape it. See, they get a whole, it's a whole 5 minutes or 4 minutes of the total eclipse. They should have images, video of the whole thing, and they should be able to see if anything's moving funny in the background, and it should move funny. Anyway. Anyway. So, yeah, till next time. Such. Just irritating.